frustration is your friend. Frustration is not always the enemy. Frustration, in many cases, is an indication that something needs to change. And when I say something needs to change, sometimes it's the situation that needs to change. But oftentimes, it's not the situation that needs to change. Many times, you can't even change the situation. But if you are able to reframe your perspective, you're able to change you. What's going on, aspiring school leader? I am Dr. Donovan Smalls II, and welcome to Beyond the Classroom. I help aspiring school leaders land their first leadership role, navigate complex dynamics, enhance communication skills, and drive instructional excellence. Today, we are going to talk about maximizing your leadership, how to lead even when you feel overlooked. Now, this topic really came about by having conversations with some current school leaders and them expressing their concern or their frustration as it relates to their ideas might not necessarily always, go noticed, right? That their initiatives, the many different amazing things that they know will be beneficial to their school community, sometimes they're just not taken into consideration. And I want to let you know that, there's really two phases of frustration that I've noticed as it relates to being an aspiring school leader. There are the individuals who are looking to make an impact as an aspiring school leader, but they may be frustrated in terms of the lack of interviews or the lack of opportunities that they have to become a better instructional leader, or the lack of frustration that they have in terms of landing that first leadership role. And then on the other hand, there are a select group of individuals who are also having levels of frustration, but they are aspiring school leaders who have actually landed the role. They're in their role of assistant principal, of supervisor, of director, whatever the case is, but they're noticing that many of the different ideas that they bring to the table just aren't being implemented. And that does happen. It's a part of leadership. But you have to understand that frustration is your friend. Frustration is not always the enemy. Frustration, in many cases, is an indication that something needs to change. And when I say something needs to change, sometimes it's the situation that needs to change. But oftentimes, it's not the situation that needs to change. Many times, you can't even change the situation. But if you are able to reframe your perspective, you're able to change you're able to change your mindset. You're able to change your ability to see things differently. And so today I want to talk about 4 points, 4 keys as it relates to maximizing your leadership, how to lead when you feel overlooked. Remember, frustration is not the enemy. Many times frustration is your friend, and something needs to change. So number 1, I need you to redefine leadership in your current role. I think sometimes we have this expectation of what leadership looks like. It looks like us being out in front. It looks like us always being the person that's influencing the environment directly, right? We look for direct opportunities to make an impact. And although I think that is an opportunity for us to look at how our leadership should look like, I also think that we have to look at indirectly impacting leadership environments if we are in a situation where we feel frustrated and overlooked. Leadership isn't just about a title or specific responsibilities. It is about influence. Sometimes that influence looks like a direct influence on teaching and learning, and sometimes it doesn't. Look for ways to lead in the tasks that you are given, whether that's improving processes, supporting your team, or solving problems that others overlook. I want you to try to find gaps in the areas where other people are overlooking. Try to fill those gaps, because that's leadership. You might have a new initiative that you want to implement, but guess what? Sometimes the opportunity is not ready for new. The environment is not ready for new, but it might be ready for you to make slight incremental improvements that are going to move things forward. Supporting your team is a way that you are also being a leader. And although you might look at, well, I'm not leading from the front, you can also lead from the side. You could also lead from supporting your team members. Remember, you are a part of a team as a leader. It's not necessarily about you. It's not about you, definitely not all the time. There are going to be times where you are going to shine, but there are also, more often than not, there are going to be times where you need to be a supportive member of the team. Not caring about who gets the credit, but as long as we win, as long as students are achieving, as long as you are supporting your teachers, you are making an impact where you want to make the impact. So although you might experience that frustration, you can't implement this new initiative for whatever reason. You have to think about ways that you can support the team, remove your ego, and lead where you currently are. Number 2, in terms of maximizing your leadership and leading in a way that, although you feel frustrated and overlooked, you can still make a direct impact. Number 2, shift your mindset. Every experience is a lesson. Instead of seeing certain tasks as beneath you, view them as opportunities to learn what works and what doesn't. Yes, I understand that you may be frustrated in your current role for whatever reason, right? The lack of opportunities for you to be an instructional leader. You might feel like you are constantly dealing with discipline. Whatever the case is, I want you to think about shifting your mindset about the current experience that you have. Because that experience is allowing you to gain the data that you need to be successful when you get the opportunities to lead the way that you want to. When it's your time to build your own specific team as either a district leader or a building leader, whatever the case is, you are going to have data to be able to see, okay, this is how I would run this initiative, and this is how I wouldn't. This is who I would add on the team, and this is who I wouldn't add on the team. This is the impact that I'm looking to make, that I'm striving to make, and this is the impact that we're not looking to make. All of this is data. Sometimes we forget that we can learn from a lot of the experiences that don't go well, just as much, if not more, than the experience that go exactly the way that we want them to go. Everything is learning. You don't lose, you learn. I don't want you to think about situations as you being so frustrated that you forget the lesson and what you are experiencing. Don't throw away everything because it's not going your way. Shift your mindset. Because when you shift your mindset, usually everything changes. And it may not be the specific circumstance or situation, but it's you. It's you that changes before the circumstance. It is you that changes before the situation. So shift your mindset. Number 3, create opportunities to add value. Don't wait to be invited to lead. Volunteer for projects, propose solutions, and find ways to support your colleagues that may be non-traditional. When you consistently add value, people start seeing you as a leader, even if your title doesn't fully reflect it yet. Create opportunities. That's what leadership is as well. What opportunities, what gaps can you fill that are going to allow you to add value so that people continue to see that you add value, and then they start gravitating towards you, towards seeing what your expertise is, like tapping into your expertise rather. Because people are going to be gravitating towards you as they continue to learn more about who you are when you step into that first leadership role. They learn your expertise while you're learning your expertise, because again, teaching is very different than leading. Although there are similarities, there are some differences, and you are in the learning process as well. Never forget that. Never leave the posture of being a student. And so although you are learning, people are learning who you are, and as you continue to add value in spaces that may be non-traditional, like safety and security, like facilities, right? I get that instructional leadership is the primary way that we influence teaching and learning in positive ways. But what other ways can you add value to your teachers so that they begin to seek you out for opportunities to collaborate with them? So number 3 was create opportunities to add value. And lastly, build relationships and earn influence. We kind of talked about in the previous point, but sometimes being seen as a leader isn't about what you do. It's about who trusts you. Again, let me say that one more time. Sometimes being seen as a leader isn't about what you do. It's about who trusts you. Many times we get caught up in leadership as it relates to the things that we are doing. What initiatives are we putting out, right? What am I doing on a day-to-day basis? Am I checking off the tasks that are on my list? And although leadership is doing. I wholeheartedly believe that. But there is another aspect of leadership that adds your ability to influence environments based on the trust that you have created and that you have built. And that takes time. Don't be don't be in such a rush to get to where you want to be that you miss out on building positive relationships that are going to help you create the trust that builds influence. Leadership is influence. You can build influence without having a title. You can build influence without feeling like you are the center of attention. You can build influence even when you feel overlooked. You can build influence when you feel frustrated because of the lack of projects or initiatives that you are able to carry out in your building. And so I want you to think about the relational trust, the influence that you will be able to have based on the time that you spend with individuals to learn more about them. When people respect your voice, they'll start seeking out your perspective, even if you're not in the specific role that you desire yet. You have to build the relationship first. Leadership is about relationships. Leadership is about influence. Leadership is about trust. And the way that you do those things is by listening actively. It's by actually spending time with the people who are making decisions in the classroom, the teachers, because they're the ones that are going to seek you out for advice when they can trust you. So although you might feel overlooked, you might feel frustrated, you might feel like you're not able to do the things that you truly want to do when it comes to being a school leader. When you step into that first leadership role, I want you to think about these 4 key points that we talked about today, because they are going to help you throughout your journey. There are going to be times where you feel frustrated. It happens. It's a part of life. It's a part of leadership. But frustration is your friend. Frustration is not the enemy. It means that something needs to change. And either it's the environment that needs to change, but more likely than not, it is you and it is your mindset. Once you change your mindset, things change and you start to see that this environment, this experience is for me to gain the knowledge and the trust and the data so that when I continue to move forward, I'm using this information to change the environment once I eventually step into school leadership or once I eventually step into the position that I am currently looking for. So today we talked about 4 key points. Redefine leadership in your current role. Shift your mindset because every experience is a lesson. Number 3, create opportunities to add value. And number 4, build relationships and earn influence. Again, frustration is your friend. Frustration is not the enemy. I want you to think about that as you continue throughout your school leadership journey. I hope this video added value, and if it did, make sure that you share it with someone else so that we can continue to help aspiring school leaders get to exactly where they want to be. As always, I hope you have a great week of teaching, leading, and learning. Take care.
I love that you talked about mindset, because mindset is extremely important as you become a school leader. And so that leads us into our second complexity, which is navigating the learning curve, right? Whenever you are promoted to the next level in your career, you will always begin as a novice. So it doesn't matter that you are an effective classroom teacher, you have raving reviews from your students. Becoming a school leader is a different skill set. And so we need to start teaching aspiring school leaders that it takes a level of emotional intelligence and self-awareness to understand just because you got results doesn't mean you're going to get results here. You need to work at this. And so one of the things I constantly think about is the fact that the learning curve can be steep. As a teacher, I'm walking into the building with a set schedule. As a leader, I might have a set schedule if I'm planning properly, but it might immediately become obsolete as soon as I walk in the building. The learning curve that I had to navigate was I'm walking in the building with my bags on. Teachers are firing questions at me. I haven't even made it to my desk yet. How am I navigating that? With being tactful.